in Memphis, Tennessee, the AAA affiliate of the St. Louis Cardinals. Spring training is wrapping up and the final cuts have to be made. It's a final time to make that lasting impression on Cardinals management. Opening day just 3 days away. Unfinished business tonight. The Memphis Redbirds and St. Louis Cardinals on Fox Sports Net. This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Net from Memphis, Tennessee and AutoZone Park, one of the great facilities in all of minor league baseball. Close to 17,000 expected tonight, a sold-out crowd as these fans welcome the Cardinals to town. With Al Hrabosky, my name is Dan McLaughlin, and welcome to Cardinals baseball. A gorgeous night for baseball as Memphis plays host to St. Louis. It's a start for Woody Williams with an ERA over 14. I look back at his stats last spring training, throw those out the window because he was outstanding. He was an all-star.
Oh, he was, and it's a little mini question mark whether he'll be ready to make the third start of the year. Woody thinks he'll be fine. Tony will give him the little credit there, but this is a much improved starting staff for Tony La Russa this season and a much improved bullpen.
What guy stands out the most as maybe being the biggest surprise that you see in 2004?
Well, I think health is going to be an issue with Woody and Matt Morris and Chris Carpenter, but Jason Marquis really established himself as an outstanding pitcher. We knew he had a great arm, but he's starting to show he has a feel for pitching.
First pitch, starting lineups coming up next. You're watching Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Net. Game 2 of over 100 this season on your home of the Cardinals. We're in Memphis, Tennessee. The Redbirds play host to the St. Louis Cardinals. It's coming up next. Tennessee, and welcome to Cardinals baseball. Already one out recorded. Obviously, they're not on the same time frame that we're on here, Al. With the Memphis Redbirds, it's 7:04, and the first pitch was supposed to be at 7:05, but we've already had one out recorded. A line out by Tony Womack into right field.
Well, Memphis Redbirds are so anxious to get the season started. They want to take on the Cardinals and get this thing started.
They jumped the gun and a strikeout for Jason Ryan as he fans Ray Langford. Jason Ryan coming off a fabulous season at AAA, and this is brought to you by Advance Auto Parts.
Well, you can't believe that 2.70 ERA led all AAA. He had 15 no decisions. That's why it wasn't a tremendous win-loss record, but he could sue his teammates for lack of support. This year he should have much more.
Here's Albert Pujols. The folks here in Memphis awfully excited about the starting rotation that they will have at the AAA affiliate of the St. Louis Cardinals as Pujols digs in, hitting .381 in spring. A ball and a strike.
Danny, when you think of Jason Ryan, who's facing maybe the most dangerous hitter in the National League and potentially all of baseball, Jason Ryan finding himself back here, just an indication of how tough the Cardinals rotation is. This guy led all of AAA in ERA. He demonstrated in big league camp that he could pitch up here. Maybe his only undoing was the fact that he said, I've got a killer curveball, but he left that up in the zone.
Pujols hammers this one into right field. Long way to go for Prieto near the track, and he's got it. A 1-2-3 inning for Jason Ryan. Memphis comes to the dish when we come back. On Fox Sports Net is brought to you by Budweiser. Grab a cold, fresh Budweiser. It's game time. By the St. Louis Renaissance Grand Hotel, the official hotel of the St. Louis Cardinals broadcast on Fox Sports Net. By Auto Tire. For straight talk and great service, you ought to go to Auto Tire. And by Steak and Shake. Real steak burgers and real milkshakes. Steak and Shake. Danny Schaefer and his Memphis Redbirds playing host to the Cardinals, and Woody Williams on the mound, our Advanced Auto Parts starter for St. Louis.
Well, we got to find out if Woody can stretch out. Came into spring training with a little shoulder tendonitis. Very few innings pitched, but he feels he'll be ready to make the third start of the year, and I think you got to give the veteran the benefit of the doubt.
This is right fielder Chris Prieto leading things off for the Memphis Redbirds. Back to Woody Williams. And 2 pitches and 1 out. That's how we start for Woody. This will be one of the best defenses in all of Major League Baseball. It's brought to you by Auto Tire. A look at your opening day outfield. Langford in left, Edmonds 6-time Gold Glover in center, then Sanders in right, Roland Renteria on the left side of the infield, Womack, Pujols on the right side, and Mike Matheny is behind the plate. Here's our old buddy John Mabry. First pitch is fouled back.
John been swinging the bat very well since being demoted, going down to Memphis. He'll have a very good influence on these young players.
John Mabry is awfully close to getting 10 years of service, major league service. Trying to hold on and get that under his belt. The 1-1 pitch from Woody is grounded sharply to Tony Womack to his left. 2 outs. Let's take a look at the lineup for the Memphis Redbirds in Danny Schaefer. A slimmed down Danny Schaefer, I should say. He's dropped about 35-40 pounds in the offseason. We take a look at his lineup. Prieto, Mabry, Gall, Witt, Siebel, Porter, Molina, Delgado, and Bowers. And the first pitch to John Gall is a ball.
John Gall is going to be interesting to watch his progress. He's always been able to hit, but not really a position, so they play him in left field for the first time.
1 ball, 1 strike with Kevin Witt on deck. It looked like Kevin Witt was making a serious run at making the Cardinals club, but that position may be occupied by Cody McKay, coming off the bench this season for St. Louis. And time is called.
Bit controversial carrying 3 catchers, but Cody does have some versatility and left-handed hitter and the ability to play first and third.
Tony La Russa is saying before the game, consider him more as a utility guy on the infield, more so than a guy behind the plate, because he really likes the way Widger calls a game. Breaking ball misses low and away in the dirt, and a count of 2 balls and 2 strikes. Tony La Russa will be part of our pregame show, 2 hours long on opening day. And by the way, the charge line is open till 9 o'clock tonight. 421-2400 for ticket information the rest of the way. This one is popped up. Albert Pujols. Foul territory and a 1-2-3 inning for Woody Williams and the St. Louis Cardinals. Edmonds, Rowland, and Renteria coming up for Tony when we come back. Look at the Cardinals lineup. Womack, Langford, Pujols went down in order. Now Edmonds will lead things off, followed by Rowland, Renteria, Sanders, Matheny, and Marlon Anderson is the designated hitter. Using a DH in this game, an exhibition game between these 2 teams. Edmonds hitting .259 in what has been an abbreviated spring training for him. Nursing that sore shoulder, but ready to go for opening day. And the first pitch to Jimmy is well hit. That'll stay in the ballpark. Into center, there's Porter. 1 pitch and 1 out. Let's take a look at the defense for the Memphis Redbirds. Good look there at John Mabry. It's brought to you by Auto Tire. Gall, Porter, and Prieto in the outfield. Siebel, Delgado, Bowers, Mabry on the infield. Porter is behind the plate. Rather, Yadier Molina is behind the plate. And on the mound, of course, Jason Ryan. And here's a look at Scott Rowland. Rowland a good spring. .315, 2 home runs, and 6 RBIs.
Cardinals best in the National League, left side of the infield with Rowland and Renteria. 4 Gold Glove winners.
I was looking at the numbers today, Al. 737 combined assists last year for Renteria and Rowland. That was the most in baseball. So on the left side of the infield, 2 of the best. And then you mix in the offense. Only Billy Miller and Nomar Garciaparra were better statistically at the plate than these 2.
And that's statistics. But we'll take these guys anytime. You know, just off to terrific players that play every day.
3-1 pitch is well hit. Opposite field. Prieto going back near the wall. He leaps and it's over the wall. Home run for Scott Rowland. That is number 3 in spring training. Rowland puts St. Louis on top. That was smoked.
Opposite field and legitimate out there at 370. That's what you love, is someone will go with the pitch. Off the plate, it tails back in towards the strike zone just ever so slightly. Prieto is a great defensive player.
He almost got that. He was
Yep.
awfully close.
He has led the AAA 2 of the last 3 years in defensive fielding percentage, but Scott Rowland a little too much.
7th RBI, his 3rd home run of spring. And it puts the Cardinals on top 1-0 as Molina trying to settle down, I'm sure. Jason Ryan just a bit. Ryan was a little disappointed at the end of last season that he was not called up.
And I think he had a legitimate gripe.
With the kind of numbers that he put up, but he's a great story. He's very similar to Jason Simon-Tachi. Just a couple of seasons ago, he spent the entire year in the Atlantic League with Long Island independent baseball.
I don't care what level, but particularly AAA and the Pacific Coast League is known as a very offensive-minded league. When you have an ERA of 2.70, and remember 1 less month of pitching at 190 innings, that's a lot of work.
Chopper to short, Wilson Delgado. Over to first to John Mabry. Renteria retired for the 2nd out, with the Cardinals leading by a run.
You look at these Redbirds last season. You know, Jason Ryan may have deserved to come up. He didn't come up, but you know, if the Cardinals had an injury, there was really nobody you could bring up. Once you brought up, you know, Bo Hart, that was it. Pitching or position players, and this year it's much different.
Here's Reggie Sanders. Reggie Sanders, in talking with him the other day, Al said a couple of seasons ago he was expected to produce because he was in the middle of that Atlanta Braves lineup. In this lineup, he's going to be dropped down in the order because of Rowland and Renteria and Pujols and Edmonds. The expectations aren't as high. And look at his numbers last year with Pittsburgh. Not expected to do a lot, put up great numbers. Pretty much a similar situation here as opposed to what he went through, which he called his worst season ever in Atlanta.
Well, last year 285, 31 home runs, 87 RBIs, and very quietly he'll have similar numbers.
Fooled a bit on that pitch. It's a count of 1 ball and 2 strikes on Sanders.
And you won't find a more likable individual. Father of 4 daughters. 4th one coming this spring.
3 home runs, 9 RBIs this spring. For a while it was feast or famine for Reggie Sanders. He's tied up and he strikes out. 2 strikeouts for Jason Ryan. But Scott Rowland in the top of the 2nd puts the Cardinals on top with an opposite field home run. 1-0 St. Louis. Key matchup. The last 23 games for the St. Louis Cardinals here in spring, 17-6. The first 6, 0-6. It's a Ford key matchup, and whether it's spring or regular season now, of course the emphasis is on the regular season, but it is nice to finish winning games, and that's something that Tony La Russa talked about prior to tonight's ball game.
Well, you always want to get off to a good start. It's important to close well, but those victories in April are that many games you don't have to win in September.
There's some talk about this man at the plate, Kevin Witt, about trying to jump out of the organization and possibly play over in Japan. He had a very good spring, and to be honest with you, I was a little surprised that they sent him down as soon as they did. Because he's got some pop as he lifts this one into center field. Edmonds backing up, and that's the first out as we start the bottom of the 2nd. Whether you are on the road for business or pleasure, don't miss a minute of the action. Take your favorite team on the road and watch live games right from your computer. Sign up for MLB TV at stlouiscardinals.com, where baseball is always on. Scott Seabold will step in with nobody on and 1 out. And again, we remind you that the charge line tonight, operators standing by back home in St. Louis, is open until 9 o'clock. 421-2400. We also will tell you numerous times throughout the telecast tonight, get to the ballpark as early as you can on Monday.
It's open at 11:10. Motorcade is what, 1:35?
1:30, right.
1:30.
So normally it'd be right before the game, not this year with President Bush throwing out the first pitch. Also, you have to remember the construction in downtown St. Louis is driven into left center field. That could be trouble. Edmonds won't get there. One hopper off the wall. Seabold is digging for 2, and it's a 1-out double. And the first hit for the Memphis Redbirds against Woody Williams.
Seabold's kind of You see Woody right there is trying to exaggerate, pulling down on the breaking ball. A hanger, and to this point, he had been very efficient. But this one just sitting up there, and Scott Siebold knows how to hit that. A very good AAA ball player. And a lot of people give him a lot of credit for helping Memphis last season when Schaefer took over to be 5 games over 500.
Here's Colin Porter, and a fastball misses up and away. You know, going back to opening day, as you mentioned, gates open at 11:10. Everyone that enters the ballpark has to go through a metal detector. All bags will be searched, and if you're looking for alternate routes, go onto the Cardinals website at stlcardinals.com. They've got an assortment of routes to head down to the ballpark and figure out the parking, but it's going to take a couple of weeks just to figure that out.
And also, with the presidential motorcade, they'll shut down all the highways for approximately 45 minutes, so that's another indication or reason why to be there early. There will be entertainment, from the motorcade to first pitch.
2 balls and a strike on Porter.
This guy, the organization is very happy. He was in the Houston organization, and we talk a lot about the Rule 5 draft. Well, he was left off the AAA roster by Houston, and when
it's sharply to second. Backhanded play by Tony Womack. Good play to his right. That arm looks pretty good on that play.
Yep. Tony Womack has played a lot of different positions, but many people think the second base is his best. Backs up on this one. He's 5 months or so removed from Tommy John surgery, and that's a surgery it takes 12 to 18 months for a pitcher. But he said, I'm fine. He said, as long as my footwork is under control, and my arm is not going to take the extra stress.
Siebold moves up to third on the play, and we get a look at the future behind the plate. Very well could be for the St. Louis Cardinals. Yadier Molina, he really busted on the scene last spring training and had a decent spring training this year.
He's only 21 years of age. He's the youngest player here on the Memphis roster. And for years, even last year, they said he could handle the duties at the big league level defensively. I marvel at his ability behind the plate to receive, work with, and communicate with pitchers, and his throwing arm is exceptional.
Ooh, the 0-2 just missed inside. A ball and 2 strikes. Yadier Molina.
A couple brothers playing for the Anaheim Angels.
You got it. There's the 1-2 pitch. Mike Matheny was perfect, literally perfect last year.
No errors, winning his second Gold Glove, but 21 years of age, Molina. And with Mike being in the final year of his contract, that'll be interesting.
A lot of guys in the final years of their contract. Renteria, Mike Matheny, Woody Williams.
Can't emphasize enough how important it is as a pitcher to be allowed with a runner at third to throw that breaking ball in the dirt and know that your catcher has perfect technique and to block that ball, and that guy never scores.
Have you seen any better?
No, absolutely not. And I've even read articles from people like Mike Scioscia that pay tribute to Matheny.
Call, third strike, and Molina strikes out. That's the first strikeout for Williams. The Memphis Redbirds strand a man. We play 2, 1-0 St. Louis. Monday, the St. Louis Cardinals begin their 2004 season when they take the field against Scott Pasednik and the Milwaukee Brewers. It's the first of 4. Coverage begins at 1 right here on Fox Sports Net, so it's sold out. If you can't make it down to the ballpark, we hope you tune in to Fox Sports Net as Matt Morris will get the opening day start in his 6th season. Morris allowed 1 run last outing. At one point, he had 15 2/3 scoreless baseball here in spring. And he will be opposed by Ben Sheets, the hard-throwing right-hander for Milwaukee. Scott Pasednik, in my mind, should have been the Rookie of the Year, even in front of Dontrell Willis, who wound up winning that award for Florida. He trailed off in the final 2 months, and Pasednik was putting up remarkable numbers, but playing for Milwaukee, no one knew about it.
Yeah, I agree with you, Danny. Position player should always be over a pitcher, especially one who didn't arrive on the major league scene until May and then falls off the last couple months.
Right. Offensively, you could make a case that Mike Matheny has had one of the best springs, if not the best spring in this lineup, hitting .375, 1 home run and 9 RBIs. 2 balls and a strike on Matheny with Marlon Anderson on deck. He's serving as the DH, and then back to the top of the order with Tony Womack.
You know, there's no reason why Mike doesn't provide the offense like he did a couple years ago, but with the job he does behind the plate, anything he gives you offensively is a plus. He is so good defensively and working with the pitchers, and a true leader on this staff.
One of 4 Gold Glovers last year for the Redbirds, and the second time that he has won that award. Roland, Renteria, Edmonds, the others. You're talking about the Rule 5 issues with Major League Baseball. The Cardinals have one as that catches the outside corner.
Hey, we like this umpire.
Well, we do like him. I'll get into him in just a moment. He came up to our booth. That's when you're really trying to get the pub. Hector Luna is a Rule 5 guy for the Cardinals. Houston is dealing with one, and they liked him so much that they traded away a 15-game winner. Jeremy Robertson hits sharply to third. Scott Siebel across the diamond for the first out. 421-2400 or STLCardinals.com for Cardinals tickets. Again, opening day is sold out. And it's my understanding that Andy Pettitte, by the way, in that Houston series in St. Louis, will start on Monday. Roger Clemens gets the start on Tuesday. So a couple of guys our fans probably have not had the chance to see in person. Pettitte and Clemens at Busch Stadium on Monday and Tuesday, and there are tickets available for those 2 games.
I don't think Albert's afraid of them.
That is ripped up the middle by Marlon Anderson. Recently in Sports Illustrated, a bunch of pitchers were asked to take a poll on various hitters, and they said the guy that doesn't fear us at all, Albert Pujols. We fear him. He's the guy we fear the most. I can see why.
Yeah, you can see why Jason Ryan has had success and why Tony La Russa and Dave Duncan both praised him for the way he pitches, the way he moves the ball around. You just figure he needs a little better breaking ball.
Siebel way in on the grass at third base as Tony Womack digs in. He lined to right to start the game. Now the Cardinals traded away Kerry Robinson for Brian Hunter. Brian Hunter missed the bus this morning from Florida, did not catch the flight here to Memphis, and apparently is not going to be with the organization. That's one of the possibilities. His impression of the trade was that he made the roster, meaning the Cardinals, St. Louis Cardinals, and Walt Jocketty and his brass had other ideas.
And so he does, as a veteran, have the opportunity to refuse an assignment here to Memphis. Almost 10 years in the big leagues.
This will be tough to turn 2. They might do it. Even with the speed of Womack, they turn the double play. 4-6-3. We head to the bottom of the third. Delgado, Bowers, Prieto coming up for the Memphis Redbirds. St. Louis leading by the baseball on Fox Sports Net is brought to you by Advance Auto Parts. We're ready in advance. Memphis, Tennessee, Scott Rowland has put the Cardinals on top with his home run. That was back in the second inning. His third of spring, and the Cardinals lead it 1-0. A breaking ball misses upstairs, and this is Wilson Delgado. Switch hitting middle infielder for the Memphis Redbirds. Spent the majority of his time with the Cardinals last season in St. Louis.
Switch hitter going to be down here and solidify their defense.
By the way, the loudest ovation as both teams were introduced to the fans here in the sold-out crowd of 17,000. So Taguchi.
I noticed that.
Wasn't Albert Pujols, wasn't Matt Morris, it was So Taguchi.
Boy, what a difference from 3 years ago.
I think it's a great story.
Oh, it's an outstanding story. And you know, he didn't understand obviously the language, the customs. misunderstanding of what was expected of him.
Delgado slices this one to Ray Langford. That drops in there for a hit. Delgado, wide turnaround first, and a leadoff single. Critics are calling the best damn sports show period a 90-minute frat party with irreverent skits, insightful interviews, and sharp locker room banner. The best damn sports show period tonight at 11. It's only on Fox Sports Net. Final Four preview and the next Miss USA, all coming up on the best damn sports show period. Delgado, a leadoff hit, and this is Bowers, and he pops it foul and out of play.
I think those guys' criteria is a little different than the judges.
Yes.
I think I like our guys' opinion better. Jason got plenty of playing time the last week or so in big league camp.
That is lined into left field. That drops for a hit. Delgado around second. He will not test Langford. And the first two have reached. It's first and second, nobody out, and back to the top of the order.
Anyway, just a little comment to Woody about these pitches. He's down in the zone, but he reaches out there, plugs it, and Delgado running hard, but the play in front of him. As long as you see that outfielder square up, get in position to throw the ball back in quickly, you've got to stop.
This is Chris Prieto. Grounded back to Woody Williams, his first time up. He's 0 for 1. And the first pitch is taken for a ball. Again, you look at the numbers for Woody Williams last spring, Al. They're worse than they are this year, and he has an ERA over 14 entering this game, and then he went out and picked up an all-star appearance. So you don't put much stock into it with certain players. A guy like Edmonds comes to mind, and maybe Woody Williams.
Well, remember, and Prieto is a guy that's played AAA ball the last 5 years. But Woody Williams is, last year, you know, he was trying to make and convince everyone that rib cage, oblique muscle strain was fine. And everybody really was wondering in spring training. And then he went out and dealt about 6 shutout innings his first start.
1-1 is popped foul and out of play. It's a busy night, by the way, here in Memphis. The Grizzlies are playing, and we're sold out here.
It's a great venue. This is really a major league city, and this ballpark is just added to the downtown atmosphere.
Count of 1 ball and 2 strikes. Fastball, he got him. Caught him on the inside corner, and a strikeout for Woody. That's number 2 on the night. Tied him up.
Well, Woody moves the ball around, but very effectively inside here. And see that slight little tailing action back to the middle of the plate. Left-handed hitters give up on that pitch, and then it just runs right underneath their hands in the strike zone.
That is a good call by our home plate umpire.
Outstanding call.
We like him.
We like him. Galesburg, huh?
Galesburg, Illinois. Bob Bainter is behind the plate. He said he's got 50 family and friends watching this game on Fox Sports Net. He made sure to come up to our booth about an hour before the game. He umpires in the International League. That's his 4th season at that level, 10th overall, but he worked at a radio station, WGIL. It's a Cardinal affiliate in Galesburg, Illinois. And Bob, you're doing a good job. Keep calling those high strikes and wide strikes. You're going to be doing a little bit better.
You know what? I mean, think about it. No walks. The game is just flowing. You know, he's called out a couple guys on borderline pitches, but if you call strikes, everything kind of seems to flow, and the pace of the game is outstanding.
Yep. So John Mabry grounded sharply to second, his first time up.
Are you going to expense that $5,000 you gave him?
I'll put it towards the Al Hrabowski fund, because we will spend $5,000 over the course of the season with expensive dinners to make you happy.
I hope so.
Trust me, it's been budgeted. Here's a 2-1 pitch. Big swing and a miss by Mabry.
I hope you and Kenny and Bernie enjoy your chartered jet tomorrow.
Oh, we are. You know, speaking of that, Don Lucy, our technical director, is a licensed pilot. He flew from St. Louis to Memphis today and working in our truck while the majority of us drove. Not me. You did.
I did. You know, it's a pleasant drive.
It is a pleasant drive. And some of us will make a pleasant drive to Nashville.
Go Blues.
Tonight. They're not in yet, Al. That Mad Hungarian Spectacular show could be on the air next week, buddy.
I'm a Blues fan. Blues are going to do it for us.
Two balls and two strikes on Mabry. Runners at first and second for Mabry. Cardinals leading by the score of 1-0 on a Scott Rowland home run. If Mabry continues to hit the way that he has, Al, and looking at this bench, it's not the strong suit of the Cardinals, to say the least. I've got Taguchi making it, Marlon Anderson, Widger, McKay, and Hector Luna, the Rule 5 that they picked up. If Mabry hits, there's no reason to say that he wouldn't stay. The runners were going, but they'll come back to first and second after he pulls that one foul.
And you bring up a very good point, because sometimes, you know, you fight your emotions when being set down. But if you can come down here and play every day, get your stroke, and then if guys struggle on, you know, at the major league level, you're in a pretty good position to come back.
And as you mentioned before, he is absolutely tore up since he was sent down.
And left-handed swinging is something that no premium.
Runners are going again. A strikeout and a throw him out. A double play, and Woody Williams and the Cardinals get out of what could have been a very dangerous bottom of the third. Langford, Pujols, Edmonds coming up on Fox Sports Net. Park, as you well know, is coming soon, and the best way to guarantee your seats in 2006 is to buy season tickets this season. Become a season ticket holder now, and you'll receive priority seating in the new ballpark. Field box seats are still available. Ask about the new 27-game roll-in plan, which includes postseason ticket options. 425-0688. 425-0688. And season sales reps are on duty until 9 o'clock tonight, so give them a call. Here's Ray Langford in the first pitch. A little squibber to short. Delgado will be quick. Strong arm, and Langford is retired. Struck out his first time. He's 0 for 2 as Ryan works into the fourth. And Albert Pujols will step in, followed by Edmonds. Albert Pujols was part of a minor league class with Hawksworth and Danny Herron, who by all accounts was the best pitcher in camp, even more so than Jason Marquis, who has impressed many.
Well, you know who a lot of people thought might have been the most impressive until he got hurt?
Alan Bennis. Yeah.
You know, Kiko Calero, who's been, you know, has been sent here. Both of them will probably start here in Memphis, barring an injury. But I mean, Kiko Calero, no one believed that he would rehabilitate himself so well from that nasty knee injury of a year ago.
1-2 the count on Pujols. Albert flied out to right his first time up. Danny Herron, there is a look at the young Cardinals right-hander. They've got Hawksworth. They've got some young pitching. The
Adam Wainwright, the
centerpiece of the J.D. Drew deal.
This guy didn't have a very good spring. There's 381. You know, only 10 RBIs.
Here's a 2-2. Albert gets underneath this one, well hit into left field. Gall is back. It's going to stay in the ballpark. He's on the track just in front of it now, and there's 2 gone. Pujols is 0 for 2. He just missed it.
Yeah, Jason Ryan was really looking forward to this assignment. You know, I think he had a great attitude. Obviously wanted to make an impression with Tony and Dave Duncan, and he did so, a very positive one. But he didn't hang his head coming back here to Memphis. Last time out, 5 innings, only 1 hit allowed.
Edmonds looks at a strike. First time up, he flied to center. Only 2 hits allowed this far for Jason Ryan. Home run by Roland and a base hit by Marlon Anderson. Delgado diving stop from his knees, and he won't get him. Tremendous play, though, on the outfield grass by Wilson Delgado. Wow.
Danny, when I played in the minor leagues, you didn't have fields like this. So it was hard to judge, defensive players. Jason Ryan got enough of it to slow it up, allow his shortstop, and Delgado had just itsy bitsy little trouble getting it out of the web of the glove, or otherwise he might have thrown out Edmonds. An outstanding play, and this is just a great indication of what you can judge players' defensive ability on these type of fields.
Here's Scott Rowland, homer to the opposite field, his first time up, the only run in this game. Last season, over 100 RBIs and 28 home runs. My buddy Jerry Risch and Jeff Risch, they both work in the visiting clubhouse at Busch Stadium. Well, Martin Risch, their dad, turns 82 today. So happy birthday to Martin Risch, watching the game on Fox Sports Net. Little chopper left side. Tricky hop. Nice play on the force at second. We've seen some defense tonight, including the leather from Wilson Delgado. The Redbirds shortstop up the middle with a diving stop. Brought to you by Schnucks. April 2nd, 2001. On opening day, Yankee pitcher Roger Clemens becomes the all-time American League strikeout leader, passing Walter Johnson with his 3,509th career strikeout. This day in baseball history, brought to you by Schnucks. Woody Williams back to work. Well, they've got about 15,000 seats with the, when I mean seats, those are seats too, technically. But you're sitting on the grass out there, the grassy knoll out there. You like that? The grassy knoll out there.
Yes.
17,000 tonight. They were expecting a huge crowd, and they got it. John Gall rips it foul.
Wow. Young man speared that line drive in the stands. Or maybe he's not a young man. Everybody's young to me, though.
Relative terms.
Yeah. But he got one off the bat of John Gall, who has never hit below 300 in his 3 full seasons.
And he strikes out looking on the outside corner. That's
nice
number
going.
4.
Nice going, Bob.
Talking about Bob Bainter behind
Bob,
the plate.
Yes. And we could also say about Woody, pitching on both sides of the plate. Look at how far off the plate John Gall is. So he came in on him. He let him hit the ball hard, but he could only pull it. And then you kind of get a hitter kind of conscious of the inside part of the plate. You paint the outside corner.
3 consecutive strikeouts for Woody Williams, 4 in the game.
Woody's answering the question, will he be available or ready for his 3rd start? The answer is yes.
We just mentioned Roger Clemens. He, along with Andy Pettitte last year, 38 and 17 combined, over 400 innings. And that's why Houston felt they could afford to trade Jeremy Robertson as he goes to the American League.
And you got to remember, Pettitte and Clemens just really fell into the laps of the Houston Astros. I mean, they're both hometown natives. Clemens had announced his retirement, but since the American team did not qualify for the Olympics, that's why he was retiring, because he wanted to play for the Olympic team. And then when Pettitte signed, he kind of talked him into playing in hometown.
For the most part, mentally, he had shut it down.
Yes.
Do you think it's hard for him, even though it was brief, but to turn it back on at the age of 41 and try to come back and play at this level?
I think for some people it would be, but as you said, very brief, and for him, he's exceptional.
Yes, he is.
But it's going to be a little bit different in the National League, because he's going to have to be a full player. He's going to have to run the bases. Late in the game, if you're behind, you're pinch hit for. You've got a manager that has the quickest hook in all of the National League, if not all of baseball.
Well, how about just the key of him having to step in the box and hit? One of his tools is being so aggressive, and he could basically hide behind the shield of the DH.
See, I don't buy that, because I really did not like that when people accused me you know, he's throwing inside at people and say, oh, well, if you batted, you wouldn't do that. I did it in the National League for many years, and I didn't mind it. I was hit, and I was thrown at. It's part of the game.
One of the things, too, you have to remember with Houston, before we hand them the division and Chicago in the same breath, but you look at what Houston has in that lineup. It's not young. I mean, that's another thing. Can they stay injury-free an entire season? And now Chicago's had problems with Mark Pryor. Apparently he's not available until May 1st at the earliest.
At the earliest, and the things that I'm hearing is it's not so much the Achilles, it's an elbow.
I've heard that as well.
So it's, you know, they're disguising it with the Achilles problem.
Williams came back and got Kevin Whitten. This is Scott Siebel.
And now the question is, did he hurt the elbow, altering his motion because of a leg problem?
If it is his elbow, I would have to think so, because if you have a guy that is textbook way to look at mechanics, he's the guy. You agree?
Absolutely. And he did pitch a couple times, you know, kind of tried to throw a couple times.
Chance here for Rowland. Long throw, the pick by Pujols, and he held on. What a play by Albert. The defense behind Woody Williams, also some strikeouts as well. Gall, then Witt, and the great defense of Scott Rowland and Albert Pujols. Cardinals lead it here in Memphis. Brought to you by Budweiser. Grab a cold, fresh Budweiser. It's game time. Home opener will begin at 1 o'clock on Fox Sports Net, Milwaukee and St. Louis. And our What's on Tap brought to you by Budweiser. A 2-hour pregame show. And the first pitch with Joe Buck and Al Grabowski will be at 3 o'clock. Renteria, Sanders, and Matheny for St. Louis in their half of the fifth. And it's 1-0 Cardinals on a Scott Rowland home run.
The old hat for Renteria, but for Sanders and all the newcomers, that motorcade, introducing the Cardinal players to the fans, that's always fun.
Ooh, that hit him in the face.
Hopefully it's on the forehead rather than an eye, and I think it appears that it is. Well, maybe it's not, but you always worry about these last couple games when the injury factor or somebody getting hurt.
That's going to be it for Edgar Renteria.
Yep. Ooh. Gotta get some ice on that, take care of it. Hopefully it's not something that's going to bother him.
Hector Luna is getting ready. There's a look at Mitchell Page, the Cardinal hitting coach. Back for another season along with Dave Duncan and Tony La Russa. That would have helped out Edgar Renteria. Well, that's the last thing. If you're Tony La Russa, boy, going into opening day, you say, just get me out of here healthy.
I remember, you know, in the 70s going to, say, like Tulsa, where the lights were so bad. You'd see all the major league hitters playing in one of these exhibition games, and they would just stand at the back of the box. Really, if they took the, maybe they'd make 3 phantom swings just to strike out and get out of there. It was a moral victory if you didn't get hurt, but this is major league conditions here.
Well, it's 1 ball, 1 strike, and the batter will be Hector Luna. And for folks that haven't had a chance to see him, he was left off of Cleveland's 40-man roster, a Rule 5 draft. The Cardinals can't broker a deal with Cleveland. The Cards must offer Luna back to the Indians for $25,000 if they choose not to carry him on the 25-man roster, but by all accounts it looks like they are.
And he really has the ability to swing the bat, and then he can play second, short, and third. So he's earned the right here, and he's very intriguing. Now, the Cardinals probably would love to make a trade, and if they were able to do that, then they could send him to AAA. But he's shown too much to let him go. Ooh, did that get Reggie? I think that ball, the foul ball hit Reggie Sanders, I think.
Count of 1-2 on Luna.
Look at Reggie's going to go in the dugout. He's going to go get that helmet. That did get him. What a smile.
Ryan is working in his 5th inning for Memphis. He's allowed 3 hits, an infield hit to Edmonds, a home run by Rowland, and a base hit by Marlon Anderson. It's a full count on Luna.
There haven't been a lot of successes as of Rule 5s, but one guy that comes to mind, George Bell.
I believe Jay Gibbons of Baltimore was another one.
Yes, he was.
Broken bat, left side, good play by Scott Siebel. That's the first out. We saw Gibbons in interleague play last year, and he was terrific. Reggie Sanders struck out his first time up. He's 0 for 1, and he'll dig in with 1 out, nobody on here in the 5th.
My first experience with broadcasting, as you see Walt, his son, and C.J. Cherry, the Cardinals traveling secretary, was Sports Time. And George Bell had a big opening day. He hit like 3 home runs. And I was doing a game in Cleveland, and in Sports Time, the desk said, "Hey, do an interview with George Bell." I said, "Okay." They did not know that George Bell was from the Dominican Republic and didn't speak English.
But you speak a little Spanish.
Well, I conducted the interview, and they said, "Well, what was that?"
Just no one else got it.
Yeah. I like George.
1-2 the count on Sanders.
Some very good years with Toronto.
Oh, he had some great years. Middle, late 80s.
Yep. I don't know what Reggie's going to do. He's got a 2-year contract.
7 teams in 7 years for Reggie Sanders.
You look at Molina.
The Pirates, the Giants, the Diamondbacks, the Braves, the Padres, the Reds for Reggie Sanders.
They're going to get the Cardinals mask from Molina as they repair the Redbird mask.
It's confusing a little bit, doesn't
Cardinal and Redbird.
2 strikes on Sanders, and a swing and a miss. And that's the 2nd time that he has struck out.
Reggie will strike out a few, and really Jason Ryan is racking them up a little more than what you expect from him. This is 3rd strikeout. Twice getting Reggie Sanders.
I don't know if you feel the same way about this, but the acquisition of Tony Womack, to me, with his speed at the top of the lineup, was something that you had to have. This is a team that last year it just seemed like you sat back, you waited for the bomb, and now you've got a guy at least that has some speed at the top of the order. Not to take anything away from Bo Hart or Vigna, but Womack adds that. Over 300 stolen bases in his career, and can at least add that element to this lineup, which in many ways was station to station. Only 82 stolen bases last year as a team, and 34 of those were from Renteria.
Game has evolved in the home run department. Emphasis on the running game is not as great. Plus a lot more emphasis on pitchers controlling the run.
2 balls and a strike on Mike Matheny. Grounded out to 3rd, his first time up. 0 for 1 on the night. We're in the 5th with 2 outs. And a 1-0 St. Louis lead on Scott Rowland's home run back in the 2nd.
Jason Ryan's not hurting himself, pitching so well against the big club. There's one of the Cardinals' futures pitchers, Parrott. They're going to have a nice staff here, and if there's any injuries.
Matheny sticks the bat out, lifts it into shallow right field. That'll be taken by Greto, and we head to the bottom of the 5th. Woody Williams back to work, and the Cardinals leading by the score of 1-0.
Shutout innings tonight, only allowing 3 hits, and he's a pitcher's pitcher. Uses both sides of the plate, all of his assortment of pitches, changing speeds, and going to have about a 75 pinch limit here tonight, but He knows how to pitch. He cannot pitch in the middle of the plate. He's got to move the ball around, change speeds, and that's why he was an 18-game winner last season.
Colin Porter will lead things off for Memphis. Breaking ball and a strike. So Taguchi takes over in right field for the St. Louis Cardinals. Hector Luna stays in the game to take over for Renteria, playing short. Porter grounded to second his first time up. A lot of people are not talking about the Cardinals as far as contention in the Central Division. And I look at their pitching, which is, to me, a huge upgrade, in particular the bullpen over last season. If you had a healthy Jason Isringhausen, who was not healthy until June 12th of last season, June 12th, you probably win the division.
There's no doubt in my mind. But and you just look at this ball club in general. You don't have to have the elite names like the Cubs and Houston has. You got great defense. You've got one of the better offenses in the league. And you have guys that are competitors that will compete. You see Woody, a competitor, wanted that pitch.
That's his first walk that he has issued tonight.
First walk of the game.
And Molina will dig in. He struck out his first time up back in the second. He's 0 for 1. I talked about this in our previous telecast, but the Cardinals bullpen, they were 14 and 25 last year in 1-run games, and the bullpen blew 10 8th-inning leads. 9th inning, not any better.
It's just, and now we have so much more depth. We got 2 quality left-hand relievers, and 2 are going to be here in AAA. Look at your setup men. I mean, you've got Kiko Calero, you've got Alan Bennis that are going to be available here. Much more depth and strength from the right side, and a healthy Isringhausen. Got guys that can go long and go short.
Oh, that caught Molina. So the first 2 have reached with a walk, and Molina hit by the pitch. It's first and second with nobody out. Last season, it was the first week of the season, and Tony La Russa elected to extend Matt Morris, and it just was a gut-wrenching game at Houston. Jeff Kent wins it, bottom of the 9th with a home run, but that was an indication of the kind of trust that he had, in my mind, in his bullpen at that time, and it wasn't much.
And I think that is a contributing factor and why Matt had a little problems.
You bet.
Pitching problems a little later on, and even Woody breaking down a little bit all those early innings.
Here's Delgado, who singled back in the 3rd, then was caught stealing in that end of the 3rd.
Do you put much stock in the fact that you don't have a left-handed starter?
Not as much as I maybe would have 10 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice luxury, but sometimes.
As Delgado lifts this one into shallow left, Ray Langford is there for the first out.
You know, sometimes you'll hear a club that doesn't even carry a left-handed reliever, and everyone said, well, how can you do that? Well, if you don't have anybody that is good enough, you're better off going with all right-handers,
right?
Just to force the issue. I mean, it's a nice luxury, but if you don't have somebody, forget it. Go with the guys that can get the job done.
There's Jason Bowers, who singled in back in the 3rd, his first time up. Cardinals with the lead behind a Scott Rowland home run, 1-0 in the 5th. It's first and second with 1 out. Let's see if Woody can't get that double play. Woody struck out 5 on the night. He's allowed 3 hits and walked 1. Going back to your point about Morris, and Tony La Russa has said it time and again. He said if he could go back and change anything, it would be the innings early on for Morris and Woody Williams. And it's 2 years in a row now that Matt Morris has pitched an awful lot in games in the first month and a half of the season, gone deep into games. And then by the second half of the season or near the All-Star break, you don't want to say he breaks down. He's just almost out of gas.
Well, and that's not going to happen this year because you've got more innings eaters and you've got more resilient arms in your bullpen. So, and the trust factor the quality of the guys in the bullpen is going to keep Matt Morris, Woody Williams, Carpenter, Supan, and Marquis. They're going to keep them, more in line where they're going to go out there as hard as they can and do the best they can. Look at the ERA in the second half, but obviously only 8 games.
2-1 pitch, ripped into left field. Langford back looking up. Memphis is on top with a home run from Jason Bowers. A 3-run shot, and it's 3-1 Memphis Redbirds.
Jason 2 for 2, and the biggest blow of this game with that 3-run shot off of Woody. The only thing you worry about Woody, he only had 5 innings in Florida, and here he's trying to pitch in his 5th inning here. So he's had trouble with the low end of the order, and there's a pitch right in the middle of the plate. This guy must be a low ball hitter. He went down and got another pitch the first time up for a base hit, and now he lifts that one up.
That pitch was up, a breaking ball. We're back to the top of the order. Chris Prieto with 1 out in the 5th, and 3-1 Memphis with the lead. As much as I would also like to see Matt Morris accept the extension that was on the table prior to the season beginning, there's a lot to be said for a player in the last year of their contracts and the motivation that goes into that and the way that they perform in that final year of a deal. That's just human nature.
Yeah, I think you're right, and you appreciate someone that wants that extra pressure and said, I think I'll be better. I mean, it's something I can admit to now, but I think I would have been a better player if I stayed on a 1-year contract the whole way through.
We'd love the security, but there is that added pressure.
Well, Tony has spoken terms, I hate to say this, but it's human nature to relax a little bit once you get that contract. And not saying Matt did or anything, but he's the one that right now says, I want the pressure to play without a contract next year.
Fouled straight back, and a full count with 1 out and nobody on. 3-1 Redbirds. Woody Williams pitching into the 5th. It's pulled foul.
Tommy Gregg, here you have a manager, 1 coach, and a pitching coach at the minor league level. Tommy Gregg is the hitting coach, the first base coach for Memphis.
Popped up behind home plate and out of play.
There's Tommy Gregg. You have to either be a pinch hitter or a left-handed specialist to do what he did in college.
Sharply hit into right field for a base hit.
He was a football player. He was a punt returner who never called for a fair catch in his college career. I think he was at Wake Forest.
I want to question his sanity too.
Well, he said it's being a hitting coach kind of questions your sanity too.
Well, the Cardinals begin their 2004 season when they take the field against Scott Podsednik and the Milwaukee Brewers. Coverage begins at 1, and it's only here on your home of the Cardinals, Fox Sports Net. Ben Sheets and Matt Morris will hook up in game number 1 of the season on Monday afternoon.
Woody Williams is through. Probably reached his pitch limit, but had a little trouble here in the 5th inning. But knowing Woody, he'll be fine for the 3rd game of the season. It looks like Simon Tachi.
And it is Jason Tachi will come in. He's had an excellent spring for the Cardinals in their bullpen. This call to the bullpen is brought to you by St. Louis Renaissance Grand Hotel. Woody Williams is through. Simon Tachi takes over. We come back in a 3-1 game in just a moment. To look at his numbers from last season, we'll take over for Woody Williams. In the bullpen tonight, Ray King and Steve Klein. And the right-handers are Mike Lincoln, Cal Eldred, Jason Isringhausen, and Jason Tachi. Those are your pitchers available tonight. Mike Lincoln has been spectacular, and Jason Tachi has been right there. This will be his 7th appearance this spring, and he was in a battle with Kiko Calero to make this team. And Kiko, as you mentioned, Al, has some options left. Simon Tachi as well, but Jason wins that battle. And one of the reasons why he did is that there was a bit of a concern, whether it be Woody Williams not being able to go, but you needed a guy long relief or to possibly start for a little bit, and this was your guy.
Big insurance problem. You know, you just do a lot of different things.
Well, the Memphis Redbirds playing in one of the most beautiful ballparks in all of minor league baseball. It's almost like it's not even a minor league park. It is just gorgeous here in downtown Memphis, and that's the condensed look, Al, in about 30 seconds of this ballpark. It's tremendous.
Well, it's going to take about 27 months for the Cardinals to see their new ballpark, but someday we'll have a condensed version too. Keep an eye on the progress being made on the new stadium just south of the Busch.
2006. They'll be ready to go. Here's John Mabry against Simon Tachi. You were talking before about Roger Clemens, and one of the reasons he wanted to stick around was because of Team USA and heading to the Olympics. Well, fan favorite here, Stubby Clapp. Although he's not with the Memphis Redbirds anymore, he's trying to catch on with Buffalo. He wants to play one more year so he can play for the Canadian national team. And Stubby Clapp, of course, was here for a number of years. And a lot of people didn't like Bo Hart for a while around here because Bo Hart was the guy that took Stubby's job. Bo Hart became a fan favorite. Stubby still makes his home here in Memphis. No balls and 2 strikes on John Mabry, old school with no batting gloves as he digs in. Old school, Al.
Yes, it is. Men were men.
And that hits Mabry. So 2 batters have been hit in this inning. The first Molina, and now John Mabry. And it brings in John Gall. First and second with 1 out. Memphis has taken the lead in this inning with a home run. A 3-run job by Jason Bowers. Simon Tachi, last pitch, and picked up the win against New York 3 days ago.
Mound 60 feet 6 inches, but the slope changes sometimes.
Good piece of hitting as that goes over the glove of Albert Pujols to Gucci. With that strong arm, will get it back in. A 1-hopper to Matheny, so a base hit for John Gall, and it brings in Kevin Witt with the bases loaded, and still only 1 out.
That was good base running by John Mabry there. He had to hold his ground, waiting to see if Albert Pujols was able to snare that line drive before he could proceed to second base. A little easier for the third base man at third base, Preto, to judge that ball and where it is nearing the glove of the first baseman.
Kevin Witt is the 8th man for Memphis to come to the dish.
Like you said, Kevin Witt, a little disappointed he didn't stick. He had 10 home runs last year with Detroit.
And he drills this one into deep right field. Witt, grand slam. Kevin Witt. That ball was crushed. A grand slam for Kevin Witt.
Down and in, right in the wheelhouse, but a hitter still has to hit it. But that is one of the things that a lot of people were surprised when Kevin Witt did not make this ball club, because he does possess a lot of power coming off the bench. And a left-handed hitter is a premium, but right there, see where Matheny is set up, totally missing location is Simon Tachi, and Kevin Witt makes him pay. There's no doubt.
There's still time, Al. Opening day's not till Monday. Here's Scott Siebold. And a ground ball to Albert Pujols. He'll take it himself. There's 2 outs. You know, Tony La Russa, despite this being an exhibition, he doesn't like it. Getting a look at the future on the other side of the diamond and watching the majority of these players during spring training, but his club is getting pounded right now, 7-1.
Well, I would think that if you took you took all the major league clubs that play their minor league affiliates, it probably would be less than 500 for the record, but you still don't like it. Especially when you're trying to get ready for opening day. You want to continue the winning ways that they have had the last couple weeks in spring training.
There's Colin Porter. Second time that he is hit in this inning.
Started off a walk and come around to score.
That was on the Bowers home run, a 3-run shot. Now the grand slam by Kevin Witt.
Palmeiro was signed with Houston, and that's what allowed Colin Porter to be taken off the roster, and the Cardinals pick him up.
Good pitch in there for a strike, and it's 1-2.
He had team leading 320 last year, 6th best in the PCL for New Orleans.
The 1-2 pitch. Foul tip. I know Walt Jocketty was awfully pleased with the way that Danny Schaefer ran his ball club last year.
I remember he didn't start here. He went off to a terrible start, and he inherited an awkward situation. Came in and restored order, and they played well for him.
Simon Tachi misses inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Danny, one of those good guys, a student of the game. Learned from several different managers, including Tony La Russa.
And a ground ball to second. Tony Womack over to Pujols. It's 7-1 Memphis, and Danny Schaefer happy with the offense thus far in this inning. 2 big shots. Bowers, then Witt with the grand slam. Memphis on top, 7-1. Portion of Cardinal baseball on Fox Sports Net is brought to you by Jack in the Box. Jack in the Box now accepts MasterCard and Visa at most restaurants. Beautiful setting in downtown Memphis, AutoZone Park. Stubby Clapp's wife actually owns and runs those apartments out there.
Really?
Yes. That's why the off-season home is still here. Part of our call to the bullpen, Mr. Parrott is into this game. The official hotel of Cardinal broadcast on Fox Sports Net, the Renaissance Grand Hotel.
Let's see, Red Parrott, his numbers last season, but he is recognized as one of the young guns that they're counting on. He was selected in the 9th round of the 2001 free agent draft from Dalton, Georgia, 6'2", 190.
Marlon Anderson will lead things off for the Cardinals. The first pitch is a ball. Anderson singled up the middle his first time. 1 for 1. Cardinals with just 3 hits. Memphis with 7. 2 big home runs, a grand slam and a 3-run homer. (7-1) Memphis. And I would think Marlon Anderson has made the club out. I think Bo Hart is in trouble.
Well, it's one of those unfortunate things. You know, the options come back to plague you if you have some.
Anderson hits it to the opposite field. Mabry is there. That's the first out in the 6th. Tony Womack will dig in. He's lined to right and hit into a double play, 4-6-3 to end the top of the 3rd. He's 0 for 2. The first pitch is a ball to Tony Womack, picked up from Boston. for Matt Duff. Over 300 stolen bases in his major league career. Beat the Cardinals in postseason play a couple of seasons ago. Triggered the rally to beat the Yankees in Game 7 of the World Series for Arizona.
Tony bounced around to 3 different ball clubs last year, and then with that elbow problem, the Red Sox thought he was not going to be able to play until May.
And a strikeout of Womack, and the Boston Red Sox certainly could use him.
Yeah.
Garcia Parra is on the disabled list, they believe, for 3 weeks. So now you've got Pokey Reese moving from second to short.
Right. So, but I think a lot of people feel that Womack's best position is second.
Yep. Here's Ray Langford. Ray looks at a ball. He's 0 for 2. Wearing number 12 now. After all those years with number 16, and as you pointed out in our last telecast, he will go down as the all-time leader in home runs at Busch Stadium. Not McGuire, Ray Langford. John Mabry with the final put out in this top half of the 6th. It's all Memphis, 7-1. Sports show period, a 90-minute frat party with irreverent skits, insightful interviews, and sharp locker room banner. The best damn sports show period tonight at 11, and it's only on Fox Sports Net. When you see that, you think about Ozzie Smith, and you think opening day, and it's just around the corner. How about that? I don't know if Ozzie could do that.
Oh, Ozzie could do it all.
Woo.
May not pitch.
That guy was flat out moving, man.
Yeah, Ozzie will be there with all the other Hall of Famers and President George Bush.
Here's Molina. The first pitch from Simon Tachi is popped up. Foul territory. Albert Pujols is there for the first out. Again, that charge line is still open. Operator standing by until 9 o'clock tonight. 421-2400. 421-2400. Again, some tickets still remaining for the Chicago series and the big series that we were talking about earlier. If you're just joining us, Andy Pettitte will pitch on Monday against the Cardinals, and Roger Clemens on Tuesday. So get your tickets now. The charge line is open at 421-2400. We get word from Barry Weinberg, Al, that Edgar Renteria is just fine, as that ball came back up and hit him above the right eye. Just a bruise, and should be fine and ready to go for opening day.
Right. Speaking of opening day, the gates will open at 11:10, and make your plans to get there early. Motorcade will be 1:30. Hey, you know, we got a minute. We signed off the air last year in Arizona, and I had a little note for a new good friend of mine, Jose Espinosa. And Jose and I got our signals crossed. He went to the winter warm-up. I know he had a great time, but he thought he was going to see me there, and I was out of the country. So I'm sorry you missed me, but hopefully we'll see you opening day or one of the many games this coming season. But Jose Espinosa, neat young man.
A ball and a strike on Wilson Delgado. And a strike on the outside corner from Simon Tachi. Took over for Woody Williams. Woody, last 4 1/3. Allows 4 runs, 5 hits, walked 1, and struck out 5. Delgado has singled and flied out. We also have an intern here with the Memphis Redbirds from back home in St. Louis, Justin Meyer, and he wants to say hi to a big Cardinal fan. His dad, Bill Meyer, is feeling a little bit under the weather back home in St. Louis, and trust me, Justin's doing a great job here, and can't wait to see you back home in St. Louis. That's a fair ball. Langford slips. Hopefully he's going to be all right. Boy, that's something where you look in that and you say, is it an ankle, a knee? Did he throw out his back? Foul.
Yeah, but Ray had him played almost perfectly, but maybe just a little bit too deep. Trying to come in here, and watch his feet when he goes to stop. His right ankle kind of turned a little bit, and then he looked like he stepped on it with his left. Right there, but he appears to be okay, and that's one of the things that you got to be a little concerned about, not only with Ray, but even Edmonds and Sanders. They're getting up there in age. They've all had some injuries the last few years, and that's why it's very important to have Taguchi and others to back them up.
Jerome Alviso is the runner out there at second for Delgado. It's a good point, as those guys are not young in age, Al, and that was one of the biggest concerns with Ray Langford. Would his legs and his knee hold up with the pounding of a full major league season at his age? We're going to find out, aren't we?
Yep, and I think you're going to find out that he's in great shape, and more importantly than just physical and mentally, he's really geared up for this season. Quite a story.
Jason Bowers hit a 3-run home run for Woody Williams his last time up. He's 2 for 2. Memphis with the lead of 7-1 with 1 out here in the 6th, and Alviso the runner at second. That one is pop foul and out of play. Alviso, by the way, played for 5 teams and 3 organizations in 2003 after spending the previous 6 years in Colorado's system.
You see where he's played every position except catcher in his career, even pitched in 9 games. He's 28 years of age, switch hitter, 6'1", 160.
Man at the plate, Jason Bowers, was a representative for Memphis in the All-Star game right here at AutoZone Park. 7 home runs and 34 RBIs last season. A 26-year-old infielder for Memphis. 2-2 the count. A swing and a miss as he chases a breaking ball. And a strikeout for Jason Simon-Tachi. His first tonight, and there's 2 down. Prieto will step in, leadoff man for Memphis. 1 for 3 with a run scored. Came around on the grand slam by Kevin Witt. 2 outs here in the 6th. Breaking ball misses low and in. Now, Baseball America recently had a study of the minor league organizations and the systems, and the Cardinals ranked 28th out of 30 teams. But in 95 and 98, through 95 and 98, he had Matt Morris, Braden Looper, Adam Kennedy, J.D. Drew, all come through the system through the draft, and a lot of those players were given up for guys like Edmonds, and McGuire comes to mind. There was a couple of good players in that deal. But now you see like guys like Pujols and Hawksworth and Heron. So the system is not bare.
Yeah, they have a lot more pitching than they have in a while. True, they don't have a lot of position players, but the one thing, the advantage this year going into spring training, where you didn't know who was playing second, you didn't know who was playing left field, and you bench, the Cardinals were able to sign a lot of quality 6-year minor league free agents because they thought they had a chance to make the big league club. So they all sit down into the system, and I think this is going to be the strongest AAA team they've had in many years.
Pitching is going to be great.
Yep. 2000
they had a great team, and people believed that team wouldn't even come close to competing with the team that they have this year in 2004. A 3-1 pitch.
I was talking with Danny Schaefer today before the game, and we were talking a little bit about Brian Hunter, and you know, it appears that he'll have the option to, will he accept an assignment? And Danny kind of was like, I don't care what, either way, because he said, I have a couple guys that I'm going to have to send out of here that I think deserve to be on this ball club. So that's the strength you're starting to see that's going to filter down to AA also.
Simon-Tachi trying to come back on a 3-2 pitch into the shallow center. Edmonds is there, the 6-time Gold Glover, and he puts it away. We head to the 7th. Pujols is due up first. Cardinal baseball by arriving at the game in your new Ford Explorer, now with a no-cost GPS system, so you can find your way to the ballpark. Only at your quality Ford stores. Your home run to spring training fun. AutoZone Park in downtown Memphis, Tennessee. 2 games with the Cardinals AAA affiliate, and then it's off to St. Louis. A workout Sunday at Busch. And we get it going on Monday afternoon. This is Albert Pujols. First pitch hit hard to third. Albert is over 3 on the night. Well, this season you could win a Hyundai Santa Fe in the Long Drive Inning Sweepstakes. Watch Cardinals telecast for details coming soon to your St. Louis area Hyundai dealers. Had a bunch of winners last year.
Yeah, we gave that car away at the end of the season. It had a lot of the happy contestants. All got to try their key in the door.
How many did we have last year? About 12?
No, I think it was a little bit more than that.
15?
Might have been 15 or 16.
First pitch to Edmonds is up and away for a ball. Jim today has flied to center and picked up an infield hit. 1 for 2. Red Parrott in his second inning of work. Folks, you got about 15 minutes or so with the charge line and operators still standing by in St. Louis. Open till 9 o'clock. 421-2400 for ticket info. On 2-0, it's popped out at the stadium.
You remember your first opening day as a?
I do.
You know, as a customer.
I do.
And
Ozzie was flipping. I was having fun.
I forget how young you are.
Well, it may have been before that.
Oh, look at there.
I have to think about that a little bit more. 2-2 the count on Edmonds. Your first opening day in St. Louis. And let me ask you this. Was it by far and away better than any other team that you were with as far as opening days go?
That was my first major league team with the Cardinals.
Yeah.
So I got broke in with the best. But I think all the players, and it is so unique that, you know, Edmonds is probably a guy that when he showed up late in spring training, and everybody told him about you know, the opening day in St. Louis and how special it is. Now he's probably spreading the word to all the newcomers now himself.
Here's a 2-2 to Edmonds. Swing and a miss, and he strikes out.
The only thing that I miss is the Clydesdales.
I do. I was about to say that too. It was always a nice touch, wasn't it?
Oh, it was just outstanding. And
give you goosebumps.
A couple times when
Gussie would ride in.
Gussie Bush towards the end was a little reckless, you know. And somebody would have to be kind of grabbing those reins.
That was part of the fun, though, to see that.
Those are such magnificent animals, but that whole scene and just the motorcade. Boy, you can talk to anybody in baseball. Once they see the Cardinals and see how they do it, it's the best.
Scott Rowland has the only RBI, the only run for the Cardinals tonight, a solo home run back in the second. Gave the Cardinals a 1-0 lead. And after that, it's been all Memphis. It was an opposite field home run for Rowland, number 3 this spring.
If we do this 7 more times, we'll have the lead.
Will take us right into the Midwest Sports Report.
You know, Robbie King is already warming up the vocal cords, isn't he?
Yep, he's getting geared up. Brent Stover, Pat Paris. We'll have our interview with Tony La Russa following the game, our post-game report. Rowland holds up, and it's a 2-out walk. Hector Luna digs in for the first time, or rather the second time after he took over for Renteria. Edgar in his second at bat had a foul ball come up and hit him in the face just above the right eye. Little swelling, but nothing to be concerned about. No problems with Edgar for opening day. Now we're going to see a pinch runner. Emil Brown will pinch run for the Cardinals and Scott Rowland. My calculations are correct. Bo Hart is on the outside looking in, and so is Emil Brown, with Taguchi, Anderson, Widger, McKay, and Luna. Just a guess, but those are the guys I see on the bench.
Yeah, it's tough to speculate because, you know, it is people's livelihood and futures, but it's kind of probably the way it looks.
You just don't know, though. Tony La Russa has not tipped his hand to what he's going to do.
And you know, you never know. Heaven forbid there's an injury that pops up, but you don't want to think in those terms, but sometimes the decisions take care of themselves.
So Taguchi is waiting on deck with 2 outs, a count of 2 balls and no strikes on Luna. Getting a good look here at Rhett Parrott at a 1-2-3 6th inning with a strikeout. Got the first 2 here in the 7th. 2 pretty tough ones in Pujols and Edmonds, with a ground out, sharply hit to third, then a strikeout of Edmonds, and he walked Rolen. And now it's Luna heading the count with 2 balls and no strikes. Ground ball to second. And the Cardinals are done in their half of the 7th. We move to the bottom half. It's 7-1 Memphis. You're watching Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Net all season. Ball on Fox Sports Net is brought to you by Budweiser. Grab a cold, fresh Budweiser. It's game time. 17,000 enjoying this one at AutoZone Park in Memphis as Bo Hart takes over at third base. Cody McKay is over at first base. Widger is behind the plate, the backup catcher this season for the St. Louis Cardinals. So Taguchi moves to center field. Emil Brown stays in the ball game, and he will take over in right field. So there are your changes, along with Cal Eldred on the mound. 7-1 Memphis. They have a 3-run home run and a grand slam tonight. Kevin Witt with the grand slam off of Jason Simon Tachi. One of those runs charged to Woody Williams. Jason Bowers with a 3-run home run off of Woody, as he went 4 1/3 with 4 runs allowed, 5 hits, walked 1, and struck out 5. And here is John Mabry. Was hit by a pitch and came around to score in the grand slam back in the 5th. And it's quickly 2-0. Last season, Cal Eldred, first time in the bullpen, and he did a heck of a job, in particular in that closer's role.
He just coming off of not pitching for a couple years, having that elbow stand up.
Mabry smokes this one into the opposite field. Langford running for it, won't get it. To the wall it goes, and Mabry's digging for 2. Going to the opposite field, and you always use the term professional hitter, and I always have thought John Mabry's one of those guys.
That's very interesting, though. When he first came up, this is what he did frequently, going the opposite field. That ball was up in the zone a little bit. Then everybody looked at his size, and when he does really connect the ball, he shows great power. But he may have gotten away from his strength, and they tried to get him to be a pull hitter, and I think he was a more efficient hitter when he went to the opposite field.
And who was that last Cardinals cycle?
John Mabry.
There you go.
In Denver.
This is Luis Ortiz, a 33-year-old infielder for the Memphis Redbirds. Spent last season in Edmonton, hit .305 in 59 games. Has a .303 career average, and his next minor league game will be number 1,000 of his career.
They've got some experience here, and you know, if you got to be in AAA, what better place than Memphis? So, and as I said, some of these 6-year minor league free agents saw that there were some openings here. Some of them had invitations to the big league camp.
Mabry, the runner at second base. And it's 2 balls and a strike on Ortiz.
Memphis Redbirds are the only charitable organization of any sports franchise. It's a foundation here.
Three and 1. Charge lines are open for a few more moments at 421-2400. Again, gates open at 11:10 on opening day. Make those plans to arrive early. Go to the website, find those routes to the ballpark. With all the construction and with what's happening with President Bush throwing out the first pitch, get there early. As we welcome Milwaukee to town, Ben Sheets and Matt Morris will hook up in game 1 of that series, and the first game of the regular season.
Can't emphasize enough to get there early, and the pep rallies are going to be inside the stadium. They're not going to be outside anymore, or at least this year. And then once you're in there, we'll entertain you.
Ortiz draws the walk, and the first 2 have rached against Cal Eldred. Matt Morris, by the way, has won 50 games the past 3 seasons, and that's fewer than only 7 major league pitchers in the last 3 years. That's saying something.
saying something, and yet he felt the need to add another pitch, working on a changeup. Izzy down there in the bullpen. Cal has been unscored upon his last 3 outings, covering 6 innings.
Here's Kevin Witt, who has the grand slam. And the first pitch catches the inside corner. I've said it a bunch, but to me, Isringhausen the key again this season.
Yep, and I know my good buddy Mike Bogart's at home. Really, he's a Kevin Witt fan. I know he appreciated that grand slam.
First and second with nobody out. Witt breaks his bat. Womack gets the man at second, so it'll be first and third. That's a little indication right there that Tony Womack is feeling pretty good. Awkward throw, but spun to get himself in position and not put himself in a bad position. Hey, Cardinal fans, don't miss a game this season. April 16th, the Cardinals play the Rockies. It's Anheuser-Busch calendar night. The first 25,000 fans ages 21 and older receive a wall calendar featuring the Cardinals for the 2004 season. Compliments of Anheuser-Busch. That's Friday, April 16th. The Cards and the Rockies.
You brought up a very good point about Womack getting that runner at second base, keeping the double play in order.
They have told him to treat it very much like Albert Pujols last year. Don't put yourself in an awkward position when throwing, but it's a little tougher to do it at second base.
Yeah, and you know, Tony made a very astute observation to me, talking about as long as his feet are under control and they're doing the right thing, it'll take the stress off his elbow. So that's all he's concerned about, is his footwork. You got runners at first and second, and now you get the 1 out here. You always try and get that man at second, because then if you don't complete the double play, you at least have another double play in order.
The biggest knock on Tony Womack, as he takes over Vigna's number and takes over at second base, is his defense. But Jose Oquendo has said to me, give me some time with him and give me some time with Hector Luna, about a month's worth. Let's see what we can do.
Yeah, there's no better teacher infield-wise than Jose.
That is hit into right field. This will test Brown. Runner tags. And a strong throw by Brown to the plate. And Mabry back to third.
Mabry, good thing he went back to third, but you know, Emil Brown has a lot of tools. Someday he may mature into a 30 home run guy. You'll see his arm right here. He's got the momentum behind him and a strong throw all the way to the plate. That's going to nail most runners, and particularly someone with Mabry's speed. And he'd be a tough luck candidate if he is sent down, but he's only a phone call away from coming back up.
This is D. Haynes now batting against Cal Eldred. Fastball in there for a strike. Let's see if Cal can't get out of this little jam. It was a leadoff double by John Mabry, and then Ortiz drew the walk. Got a force play at second, the line out to right, and now it's D. Haynes with 2 outs and first and third.
Last year, his first year at AAA, finished second on the team with 18 home runs and 70 RBIs. He's 26 years of age. He was considered to be one of the better position players in the organization.
Kevin Witt, the runner at first. Mabry, the runner at third. As Memphis, who put up a 7 spot on the Cardinals in the 5th, trying to add to their 7-1 lead. What'd you think of Woody?
Well, you know, I'm a little concerned about his stamina, but his stuff was, he was hitting his spots until that final inning.
Womack, the flip to Luna. Force play at second. Emil Brown showing some of those tools that Al's talking about, including the strong arm from right field. You're watching Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Net. Cast was presented by authority of the St. Louis Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of the game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Cardinal Baseball, a production of Bud Sports, and is an exclusive presentation of Fox Sports Net. Dan McLaughlin, Al Raboski with you, our Bud Sports crew. Mike Helling, Doug Stanton, Tom Mee, Brian McCann, Kim Eberly. We brought them all from St. Louis. Don Lucy is with us. Nadia Bruno. And our thanks to them and our Bud Sports crew. 7-1 Memphis as we move to the top of the 8th. Nick Stocks takes over. Great crowd, great atmosphere. Glad you're with us here on Fox Sports Net. Over 100 games on your home of the Cardinals this year. As So Taguchi will dig in. Took over for Reggie Sanders in right field, then moved to center. Sanders was 0 for 2 on the night with a pair of strikeouts. Stocks is the third pitcher used by Memphis this evening. Attended Florida State University. The 36th overall pick back in 1999.
Supplemental pick for Brian Jordan.
Brian Jordan back on the disabled list now with the Dodgers, it looks like.
Texas.
Or rather Texas,
yeah.
right. A ball and a strike on Taguchi. Laces it up the middle. So Taguchi is going to make this club, folks.
Not only make the club, he may have been as impressive of a hitter in spring training. And he's gotten the idea now of attacking the baseball. First year came over from Japan, he was just kind of feeling his way and thought he was hitting with the Sporting News. Never hit anything to the left side of second base, and he thought he was doing fine because nobody said a word to him. Now in Japan, he told me that when the manager and coaches do not speak to you, you're doing the job. You know, you don't go and ask them anything, and you show reverence. And so he thought he was doing everything they wanted him.
As Widger hits it into left center field, and that is the first out here in the top of the 8th. Well, critics are calling the Best Damn Sports Show period a 90-minute frat party with irreverent skits, insightful interviews, and sharp locker room banter. The Best Damn Sports Show period. And it's nightly, and it's only here on Fox Sports Net. Here's Marlon Anderson.
Marlon Anderson, you know, when he was competing for the second base job, his limitation was defense, but he could swing the bat.
Little tapper. Stocks takes care of that for the second out. Hideki Matsui, by the way, in that series with the Yankees in Tampa Bay in Japan, was named MVP as he hit a home run in that series. And there was a real interesting article written in Sports Illustrated about guys like So Taguchi or Hideki Matsui. Ichiro, another one that has made it over here and played well, but talking about how hard it has been for them to adapt to life off the field. And you could imagine how tough that would be. You don't know the language. You can't understand how people do the different things that they do. The food is different. The culture is different. It's been tough. But they want to play at the highest level.
And so had an opportunity to go back at a huge contract. But, you know, they get to a point where they say, I want to be in the United States. I know this is the best baseball, and I want to be able to compete. And it's nice to see in the third year of that 3-year contract that he finally has gotten his body to the point of what they want here in the United States. And he has earned the right to play in St. Louis this year.
1-2 the count.
He can play defense. The nuances of the game, the fundamentals he's very strong at. And he has the ability, they think, to come off the bench and swing the bat too.
Womack is 0 for 3. You went to dinner with him and his wife last year, and his wife, I guess, served as his interpreter maybe the first season or so, and for the most part now he's pretty fluent in English, correct?
Well, if you remember, he got rid of his interpreter right away.
And that was not his wife.
No, and yeah, thank you for the clarification. But you know, now she's a full-time mom. They've got a little baby boy, and you know, she was fluent in English, but he knew that he had to do it on himself, and you got to give him a lot of kudos for accepting responsibilities.
Womack hits it into right field. It hangs up, and the Cardinals are done. In the top of the 8th, it's 7-1 Memphis. You're watching Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Net. Fox Sports Net is brought to you by Smooth Bush Beer and easy drinking Bush Light. Jason Isringhausen will come in and pitch the 8th for St. Louis. This will be his 11th appearance of spring training. 10 innings pitched, and he has fanned 12. So good to see Izzy back out there and healthy and available from day number 1 this season.
Yeah, and I think this is probably a good indication too, because this is the first time he's pitched back-to-back games this spring. And you know, Jason, you can say everything you want about the Houston and the Cubs and the Cardinals, but the Cardinals definitely have the best closer of the 3.
You bring up a great point. Octavio Dotel was lit up in a game yesterday. You would know this better than anybody. Setting up, getting those 3 outs in the 8th as opposed to the last 3 of the game. While it is a pressure situation in the 8th, it's still not the 9th inning and closing the door. And you wonder how he is going to be able to react, being the number 1 guy now that Billy Wagner and his 44 saves are with Philadelphia.
It's not only how you take it yourself, but it's how your teammates, how they feel. And all of the Cardinal players, when they see Izzy come out of the bullpen, they say, okay, the game's over.
This is Mike Mahoney, who spent time with Atlanta and the Chicago Cubs in their organization.
Now the Cardinals feel that if something were to happen catching-wise, they're very lucky to have 2 catchers, Mahoney and Molina, that could come up and do the job. But you know, you still know that some of those Houston Astro guys are questioning. They knew Dotel was an outstanding 8th inning guy, but they're questioning, does he have the ability to close games? Does Lidge have the ability to go to the 8th inning instead of the 7th inning? Borowski did an outstanding job last year, but he really is more of a setup guy. Troy Hawkins failed as a closer. He's more of a setup guy.
Yep.
So, you know, the Cardinals still are in very good shape in that department.
Here's a 2-2 pitch. And Mahoney pops it up. Foul territory. Cody McKay is there. Hey, Cardinal fans, looking for the perfect way to entertain clients, employees, or family? The Cardinals have a party area just for you. Check out our private party rooms and suites, which include unlimited beer, soda, and snacks. Or check out our picnic areas, which include a full buffet and beer and soda. 425-0600, 425-0600 to book your party suite. Bottom of the 8th, 1 out. Jerome Alviso is the batter. He came in and pinch ran a couple innings ago.
You're saying it's going to be his 1,000th minor league game?
No, that was Ortiz.
Oh.
He's coming up, though. He's close enough. But he's the interesting story because he's played every position except catcher.
Oh, that's where we knew him.
He even pitched in 9 games. One ball, 1 strike. Fastball in there for a strike. Memphis put up 7 runs in the 5th. And they lead it 7-1. A 3-run home run and a grand slam. Fastball up the middle and a base hit. Well, Monday it's the Cardinals home opener. They begin their 2004 season when they take to the field against Scott Podsednik. And the Milwaukee Brewers coverage begins at 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock our coverage begins on Fox Sports Net. 2-hour pregame show. First pitch is at 3. And we hope you join us for Cardinals action all season long on Fox Sports Net. Here's Jason Bowers. He hit the 3-run home run. Kevin Witt hit the grand slam. As Woody Williams went 4 1/3. The grand slam was hit off of Simon Tachi. First pitch is pop foul and out of play.
8th and 9th spots in the order have done the most damage. They're 5 for 7. Including Bowers' 3-run home run. He's got another single along with that. 8th spot in the batting order, has 3 hits. And of course, don't want to discount Kevin Witt's grand slam. Jason needs to work on his stepping up the steps. Almost tripped on the.
It's another J.D. Drew incident.
Yeah. JD injured himself that way.
In Kansas City. No balls and a strike on Bowers.
I did see a pitcher, starting pitcher for Atlanta, and they had railings going up the steps, and he kind of charged up there, ran right in the railing, knocked himself out before the game even started.
Now, how much trouble would a guy get if he did that? I mean, you'd never live something like that down.
Well, if he's left-handed, it's acceptable.
So was this you?
No,
okay,
he was a right-handed
okay.
starter.
You said starter, so I figured it took you out of the equation, but you have to check. You don't know about you, Al.
And you know who I think it was? I'm trying to think. I think it was Bedrosian.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah.
Well, then it makes sense.
No wonder he ended up in the bullpen.
Here's Prieto back to the top of the order with 2 outs after the strikeout by Isringhausen, his 13th this spring.
I knew I'd need to get out of the game when starting pitchers knocked themselves out going up the steps. Bob Walk went to the plate without a bat.
How do you go to the plate without a bat?
If you're a pitcher and your name's Walk, you could do a lot of things.
Yeah.
Maybe the game had passed me by.
2-0 the count on Prieto. The center fielder for the Memphis Redbirds. 7-1 Memphis with the lead. That's in their 4th strike. June 12th, the first game we saw Izzy last season. The bullpen had blown 14 saves before his first appearance. And he has come into this season in tremendous shape.
Well, Izzy thinks that I was being critical of him, but it was a left-handed compliment, saying that the reason we didn't win last year is because he was not available for those first 2 months.
Which is true.
I mean, it's true, but it's not putting him down. It's not a knock at him. It's just an observation, and that's what that closer means. You got to have big shoulders. You got to take a lot of responsibility. But if you're not healthy, you can't be at fault.
On 3-2, the runner goes. Doesn't matter. A strikeout for Isringhausen, his 2nd in the inning. We head to the 9th. 7-1 Memphis on top. Is with the lead as we move to the top of the 9th. Midwest Sports Report is coming up. Let's find out what's coming up after the game.
Thanks. Coming up after the game on the Busch Light Midwest Sports Report, and Carroll goes in depth with Brent Wistrom. Plus, the Blues need a win to get in. That and more tonight after the game, guys.
Chad Pirano, a right-handed pitcher, takes over. 6'5", 250-pounder. 28-year-old made 2 appearances with the Cardinals in Jupiter, both against the Mets. Spent most of last season at AAA Buffalo and appeared in 6 games for Cleveland before signing with the Cardinals in the offseason. And here's Ray Langford. And on the first pitch, a little tapper to first. 1 pitch and 1 out. Midwest Sports Report, an interview with Tony La Russa coming up as we talk about opening day just around the corner. And again, that opening day telecast right here on Fox Sports Net with a 2-hour pregame show beginning at 1. First plate appearance for Cody McKay as he digs in. And on deck, it's Bo Hart. Like we said before, McKay, a good chance to make this team as the 3rd catcher, backing up Mike Matheny. And Chris Widger can also play 1st and 3rd. Made a dazzling play at 3rd base the other day for the Cardinals.
His numbers really weren't spectacular last year at AAA, but as you see, the son of Dave McKay, but Ray Langford told me, base hit here, that Langford said that he saw him down in the Dominican and bulked up a little bit, a little more maturity, and he said he kind of liked the way he swung the bat, and the Cardinals have found the same thing.
Nice round of applause for Bo Hart. His first plate appearance back in Memphis. Bo Hart, one of those guys on the bubble. Did not draw a walk in spring training.
You know, Bo, well, just watch him. You know, when he came up last year in Milwaukee, he really gave a shot in the arm. And really, it was just a total win situation because Vigna was hurt.
Miguel Cairo had a broken bone in his hand.
Yeah, so he came up there, and with all the glitter and stars in the lineup, pitchers just kind of challenged him, and every time he threw a fastball that was in the strike zone, he'd hammered it. Got off to a great start, but second time around they started working him over. And the alarming thing was every time they got ahead in the count, there was probably about a 90% chance they were going to strike him out.
Yep.
And many times Bo just expanded his zone and got himself out, so he needs to come up with that plate discipline.
He led off a team high 59 games last year, had a .317 on base percentage, 2 balls and 2 strikes. And for people that have followed the Cardinals all spring training, they say as the games have mounted, so is the pressure for Bo Hart that he's put on himself.
I've talked to him several times, and he puts up a good front, but it has to affect him.
Hits it sharply, but right to center. 2 down. And with 2 outs, we turn to tonight's play of the game. It's brought to you by Bud Light. Fresh, smooth, real. It's all here. We take a look at the grand slam from Kevin Witt off of Jason Simon-Tachi. That made it 7-1. That's where we stand right now. 10 hits for Memphis, 5 for St. Louis, and Witt's grand slam, our play of the game. Here's Emil Brown. And a swing and a miss. 7-1 Memphis, 7 runs. Back in the 5th, both off of Woody Williams, a 3-run home run. The grand slam, as you just saw, against Simon-Tachi. Cardinals have a home run, and their only run off the bat of Scott Rowland. Now they're down to their final out with a count of no balls and 2 strikes.
You know, Brown, as talked about, has got a lot of talent. Finds himself 0-2. But, you know, it looks like a real long swing and just really not a controlled swing. This is where somebody really has to learn with 2 strikes. You've got to put the ball in play. And maybe choking up a little bit and try to hit to the opposite field would be the best approach.
The 0-2. This is outside. No errors in this ball game. 7-10-0 for the Redbirds. The Cardinals 1-5-0. That is pulled fair down that third base line. McKay around second. Going to third. Brown in safely at second. And it's a double for Emil Brown. Second and third. The game extended. And it brings in number 76, Hector Luna. Danny Schaefer trying to beat Tony La Russa and the St. Louis Cardinals. They're an out away from doing so in this 7-1 ball game. These 2 teams will play again tomorrow, and then they'll work out at Busch Stadium on Sunday. Opening day again right here on Fox Sports Net. 1 o'clock Monday afternoon. Second and third. The first pitch to Luna. It's fouled back with So Taguchi waiting on deck.
Hard to believe that Tony La Russa is going to start his 9th season with the Cardinals.
That's incredible.
26 overall.
32 wins away from being the 6th winningest manager in baseball history.
When it's all said and done, he'll be right about 3rd. A couple guys that own the ball club will have a few more wins.
0-2 the count on Hector Luna. 1-2. Tony's teams have averaged 93 wins over the last 4 seasons. 3 out of the last 4 they've gone to postseason play.
Do you think anyone in the National League Central will win that many games this year?
I do think one team will. I still believe that 90 is not going to win the division.
Interesting because there's so much parity.
Right. The 1-2, a bouncer up the middle. In there for a base hit. Brown being waved home, and 2-run score. On a 1-2 pitch, Hector Luna delivers 2 RBIs, and it's 7-3.
Just well placed ground ball up the middle. It eluded not only the pitcher but shortstop and second baseman. And Luna continues to show you why, as a Rule 5 player, he's going to make this ball club. Right back over the mound. Shortstop was playing in the hole a little bit. Second baseman had a good shot. Everybody trying to end this ball game for Memphis, but it continues.
So Taguchi digs in for the second time. He has a base hit up the middle. 1 for 1. And a fastball misses in. Again, we've talked about it, but I just can't believe how far So Taguchi has come from when he first got here.
Yeah, I mean, he understands now he had to have upper body strength and attack the ball.
He's pulling the ball.
Yeah.
Pulling it with power.
You know, he had 3 home runs last season and very few at bats. I remember it was right here at his first spring training. He hit a home run against the big club when he was playing for Memphis. Garrett Stevenson spread up his bat with a changeup, and he posited one to left field. But So is, you know, he's physically much stronger. He understands what's expected of him. Fundamentally, he knew how to play the game, and he's going to get a lot of playing time this year, backing up people and playing all 3 outfield positions.
Here's a 2-1 pitch. Taguchi up the middle again, and another base hit. He's 2 for 2 tonight.
Yeah, that's the thing. You know, he can. It's a rare quality to be able to come off the bench and hit the way he does, and it appears that he can stay focused. Probably the discipline that he learned in his native land, but he is going to be, you know, a player for us this year. You probably look at it 3 years ago and people said, how did you give this guy a 3-year contract? And now we're saying, thank goodness we did.
Yep.
Because the 3rd year he's going to pay some dividends.
Remember when he first came up, it was in Seattle, and all eyes were on Ichiro, and then he showed up, and the Japanese media that was following Ichiro obviously knew about his defensive skills and what a great all-star player and Gold Glover that he was. And we've seen the Gold Glove aspect of his play, but just not the offense, but it's starting to come around. Give him the credit for sticking with it.
Sure.
And what certainly was a humbling experience to go from being an elite player in the Japanese league to being a guy that had to be a part of a developmental team.
Yeah, and right. The oldest player in the Arizona Fall League, too.
Right. First and second. It's now a 7-3 game, and this is Widger.
Widger at one time felt like kind of the lost man, but if he's there on opening day, you forget everything that, and all the, you know, the worries you have all through spring training.
Tony La Russa and the Cardinals down to their last strike again.
4 hits in this inning.
Here's the 0-2 pitch. Strikeout of Widger, and the game ends with a strikeout. 7-3. Memphis wins it. Our final score 7-3. We'll be right back with a complete post-game report. For our Bud Sports crew and Al Raboski, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Now it's time for the Midwest Sports Report. Let's send it to the studio.